Mr. Weapons is an amazing demonstration of difficult family situations. He, from absent fathers, lonely mothers, and learning how to love the family that you gain rather than the one that you can repair is all really well touched on within Weapons' story, and it's shockingly good. Um, Mr. Weapons starts off his arc by being a tough, strong father, seemingly coming back to see his children. However, it is made clear that Karen wants nothing to do with him, sending him away and taking her kids to a safe place. Whatever could she mean by that? You immediately ask questions, namely, what did Weapons do to be so hated by her? It's pretty obvious that he was absent within the raising of her children. I mean, because it's his too. Um, he had left her to raise the children alone. That's what I should have said. Um, but it runs it runs deeper than that. Katana, she was known back then, and Weapons were very close as assassins, as we find out. And in fact, unstoppable as an assassin duo. Inseparable so much that they grew close together naturally, romantically. And when Karen had their children, though, that is where it all changed. Now, we learn that Karen was deeply hurt by Weapons' absence in their family at the beginning. There's a really good shot that depicts this, and the camera pans from Karen to an empty seat beside her hospital bed, and showing us that Karen does love Weapons. She just finds it extremely difficult at the moment as she feels just betrayed by his abandonment, and we know they differ with their standpoints on raising the children. Karen having to leave the assassin's life behind to ensure a safe environment for her children to grow up in. However, Weapons, I don't think was in the wrong. More so, he didn't see the danger of other necessity really to leave being an assassin. He just didn't know, and he didn't want things to change. He still wanted him and Katana to be together. Cut to the present story, Weapons has found the family he left behind and is desperately trying to regain Karen's trust. To no avail, he tries and he tries, he flatters her like your mom was with her favorite weapon. He gets shot down every time. Although his advancements may be seen as ingenuine, it's clearly obvious that he does truly feel like he missed out on so much and watching his children grow up, and he wants to change this. He wants to give this whole family thing a try. So why does Karen still reject him? Is she still bitter? I mean, the answer is partly. The kids seem really excited to hang out with their father. I mean, they have just found that um and Karen simply does not want them to endure the same hardships she had. Basically because she had endured poverty because of it. And she most likely doesn't believe they can just this simply return to how things were, which is unfortunately one of the things that motivates Weapons. As distant as dismissive Weapons seems to be from Karen's side, there is a serious case of sheltering from her side. She barely lets them go, and there is a very good scene which summarizes their relationship and both of their attitudes towards parenting. Corey asks to ride without his training wheels, and after Karen stresses little bit, Jesus, Mr. Weapons tells her uh, he has this line: "You gotta let them fall a little to stand on their own." Now, this line is significant as it lays out Weapons' attitude to parenting, plain and simple. But his parenting alone, or Karen's parenting alone, isn't what is good for children. You need a balance of both of theirs, and right now they've gone from one extreme of sheltering to the complete opposite of complete freedom. I'll get onto that later, but there is a price to pay for that. You could argue that their childhood, I'll just say, has been disrupted because neither parent have been together, they've been separated. And honestly, SMG4 has done an amazing job of showing this through this specific episode because the parents aren't together, they're not getting a balance of the both, they're getting flipped from one side to the other, which leads me on to my next point. Family doesn't just encompass the children. I've tried to touch as lightly as possible, but this is where I'd like to focus on Karen and Weapons' relationship in detail. Before his line, you gotta let them fall a little. He's genuinely apologetic to Karen. He has changed. He's asking for forgiveness, but not repentance. He knows the damage he has done is unbreakable, and he simply wishes not to miss out on any more. This is genuine, and does not seem typical of a man like Weapons. Remember this is important for later. Karen, in a later scene, says that he's just not changed at all, which, spoiler alert girl, that is the one thing Weapon does not want to hear. She did not see what his true intentions were, and is just too hurt and bitter to fully accept him coming back and realize that he is attempting to change for the better. She also feels horrified that Weapons made her realize that her parenting might not have been the best, and thinking that her parenting is somewhat wrong, thinking, realizing that it might not be completely right, she gets scared, frankly, because as you know, she sacrificed her whole income, basically, just to keep the children from danger, which led them to poverty and literal homelessness. So, yeah. Anyway, at the end of the movie, near the end, Weapons takes the children out on a mission and is overestimating them, which is different to what he was doing before. He berates them, telling them to get serious when they're just children being children. Long story short, they get scared and Karen saves them, and the children choose to return back to Karen. There's another scene where they choose to go with Weapons before, but I don't want to touch on that. Now, broken and battered, Weapons is nothing now. Before I move on to talk about his evil bisexual arc, I do want to comment on some final thing about the Silence of the Cats. One line, when Mr. Weapons first meets Karen and the children, when his intentions are more pure, they don't go inherently evil towards the end of it, it just got muddled along the way. He clearly says, have you ever asked them what they want? Now, there is a direct parallel at the end of the episode where it gets muddled, and it's either that his ego got huge because his kids actually want to be with him more than Karen, which is like an okay interpretation. I don't really like this, but you could also say that he just got caught up in trying to fix everything with his children, and he just lost sight a little. And you know what? That can happen, and it's insane that they touch upon this. And towards the end, he ends up telling them this ain't about what they want. So you can clearly see, it changed from the gentle, genuinely concerned parent to now with a twinge of arrogance. It's not entirely his fault. It's just very, very complicated. But that is everything about The Silence of the Cats. And now I'll go on to his So at this point, he's, as Puzzles rightly stated, broken, scarred, and alone after he tried his very best to repair relations with his family and subsequently just got his ass kicked by 3 6-year-olds and his ex-wife. What has he got to do now? What else does he have to live for? Remember that Weapons truly did want to be a father to his children. He was just denied the opportunity, being restricted by his past and a bitter mother who had her own life now without him, built in the time that he was absent. So when a man offers him to forget all about his painful past, your family hates you, remember? Why should he not partake? He obliges to help this man, but it's not until he sends in an innocent, childlike looking blob to help him. And his parental instincts kick in for this little goober. He starts to praise him. You tell him, Slimeball, Tomb's a natural killer, and the like. Can you blame him? A dad forced to leave his kids even after he tried his best. He really is a caring father. This bond isn't one-sided either. Tomb is shown to have emotional intelligence when he slaps Weapons out of his trance, thinking about his family, telling him to focus. Furthermore, he helps Weapons out when he remembers he overestimated his children, which had ultimately led to his downfall. This is a proof of change. Weapons seems to have changed his parenting approach, not leaving Tomb to do a thing by himself, rather doing it himself. However, he learns to have faith in his son, which he calls himself by accident, which is a slight clear subtext that he has a familial bond. Even the subtext go further as Weapons looks towards Tomb when Puzzles mentions wiping his family. Wonder what that could mean. But before I continue, I just want to touch on one last thing. Before he said guys like us aren't supposed to have a family, which is also similar to the whole thing of Weapons wasn't supposed to be coming back. He isn't supposed to actually care for them, but he does. Aren't supposed is telling us that it's atypical of him to care about his family, but he cares for one anyway. It's just how he is. And not supposed to is he thinks that he just can't return to it. His family clearly don't want him, so he realizes he's not meant to, but he probably still wishes to. Um Now that the woke dog has been addressed, I'll want to talk about the parents of this newfound family. Puzzles and Weapons are actually an excellent dynamic, and they bounce off each other perfectly. No wonder they reference Spy. Wait, isn't there another ship? Alas, as much as I'd like to talk how much I love Gun Show, it's not what I'm here to talk about. I will be referring to both of them as Gun Show, by the way. Gun Show have assumed the role of carers for Tomb, and again, parenting differences are made clear between the two. Weapons, who wishes to still show his fatherly side, has a scene where he praises Tomb, going, hell yeah, that's my half pint, with Puzzles' contrasting line, you couldn't have done that sooner. Just like Karen and Weapons, now their roles reversed. Weapons now learnt his lesson and now knows more of how to support children instead of berating them for anything wrong that they do. Support children when they do good instead of making them focus on negatives. Cough, which is what Puzzles did. Now, I didn't elaborate on this, but I'm just gonna go for it. I haven't felt a rush like that since, and then he gets flashbacks of Katana. Weapons likes the thrill of assassin life, which he got with Katana, i.e. him partnering up with Puzzles gives him the same. I can't really say anything else about the Toonpy Woompy section other than what I've already said. Like, it just reinstates everything. Back to Gun Show. They're trying at least enjoy something once in a line. is insane. First of all, it tells us that the partner who Weapons is with, he harbors a genuine care for them and wants the best for him. No malicious intent or deceitful. Simply, he wants his whole team to be feeling at their very best. You know, like a you screwed with the wrong family. And then he looks to Tomb and Puzzles and then flashes to happy memories with them. They got so attached as a family in this short space of time. Puzzles actually struggles deciding whether he should go along with his plan. Keep in mind, this man has like literally made a whole theme park or something, and then like mind controlled people, and then he considers not doing his plan because of like one guy and a blob. Like you don't, like if you're in villain at that point, you don't just do that lightly. Anyway, it's no wonder you're capable of bonding with a mindless blob. Okay, during their argument, firstly, rude, do not insult Tomb. Secondly, what Puzzles' attitude reveals about Weapons is that it was clear to everyone that he had grown attached to Tomb, even if Weapons would deny it. His fatherly side could be seen and exploited as a weak point, but Weapons knows that his relationship with Tomb will last longer than his and Puzzles. I mean, because it's a familiar. Okay. Anyway, the breakup happens, and we'll just move along. Yeah, okay. Now I want to talk about everything that happens after. There's only 2 episodes so far, but wow, there's something. Now we know that Puzzles realized what he did was genuinely wrong and is trying to find weapons and sort things out for the better. Now, for the latest episode.
Hey, get out of here, Half Pint. It's too dangerous here. I know. I got pretty overprotective today. I just didn't want to see you get hurt. Should have known you could protect yourself.
Weapons. Even after everything, is still learning as he goes along how to parent well. And that is good. And after all, this is most likely how parenting will end up being. Nobody is perfect on the first try, and even after everything, you still might mess things up. But it's harboring a true love for your child is what makes you a good parent. And that way you'll always be supporting your child. And even if, like Mr. Weapons, messes up by underestimating and being too overprotective, you can still come back together again out of a true and deep, just pure love for each other. So yeah, what I think will happen in the future, I don't know. I'm not a theorist, but I mean, it's clear Mr. Puzzles is trying to find weapons, right? So it's Mr. Puzzles. He's going to find Mr. Weapons. What I think might happen though is that who was in the same situation, get beat up after, reconciling with your old friends goes wrong and then coming back, for support. I genuinely feel that Mr. Weapons might see himself in Puzzles. He's not shown to be going back to Meggie, so that's at least good. I mean, what else? Oh my god, right, okay, I give up. I've already spoken enough.